Hello, good evening, and welcome again to Varsity Sports Live as we are into week 3 of the high school football season in the Dakotas. Tom Nieman along with Jason Andera and Jody Norstedt standing by in West Fargo with all of the North Dakota highlights of the night. What are you jacked up about tonight there, Pants?
I am jacked up about, well, there's a lot of games tonight that we covered that we don't normally cover. So we get to see some new teams on Varsity Sports Live because some of the regulars are playing tomorrow in the Tiger Bowl and the President's Bowl. So it's kind of fun to get to see some of these teams.
All right, preview coming up a little bit later on the President's Bowl. You got Sioux Falls, Washington taking on Sioux Falls, Roosevelt.
Yep, rematch of last year's title game.
Brandon Valley taking on Sioux Falls, Lincoln.
Couple of ranked teams in AAA.
And then they're in the Tiger Bowl is Harrisburg taking on Sioux Falls, O'Gorman.
Yeah, the number 1 team in AA taking on the number 2 team in AAA.
All right, all that stuff coming up. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Tonight starting in South Dakota, and again, Roosevelt and Washington play the second game in the President's Bowl on Saturday at Howard Wood Field in Sioux Falls. That's a 7 o'clock kick approximately between Washington and Roosevelt. Watertown is 2-0, Jandy. They got
a quarterback.
Brandon Flory threw for 2 touchdowns tonight, ran for another one. Blake Holden had a touchdown run. Garrett Detterman had a touchdown catch and a touchdown run. And Watertown is 2-0 after that win over Rapid City Central.
We get to see them live on Midco Sports Network next week.
Watertown playing out in Rapid City next week in the Rushmore Bowl. Lincoln and Brandon Valley. This is game 1 in the President's Bowl at Howard Wood Field. It's a 3:30 kickoff on Saturday afternoon, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful afternoon at Tiger Stadium in Harrisburg. 7 o'clock Saturday night, it'll be O'Gorman taking on Harrisburg in the Tiger Bowl. Huron is leading Aberdeen Central. That is a final now, 25-15. Huron gets to 2-0. Jet McGurr had a touchdown run in this one. Chipper Schillingstead had a punt return for a touchdown. Walker Schultz had a touchdown run in this one. And Huron gets to 2-0, Jandy, with a win over Aberdeen Central tonight.
Yeah, good running this week by Aberdeen Central, but Huron, this was close early on, really pulled away with a good second half.
Aberdeen Central led 7-6 at half, and Huron comes back and wins that one. Rapid City Stevens gets even at 1-1 with a win over Spearfish tonight, 66-6. Mitchell wins at Brookings, 28-14. Both those teams even out at 1-1. We've got highlights coming up on that one. Mitchell got the ground game going tonight with Carson Max and those guys. Pierre gets to 1-1. They go on the road and beat Yankton, 28-17. Yankton led that game 17-14, and the Governors come back and win it.
Second week in a row, Yankton has led a game at home into the second half and couldn't pull it out.
In Class 11A, Del Rapids, a win over Vermilion, 29-28. Sturgis rolls up 61 tonight on Douglas in that other ball game you see there. Moving on in South Dakota, it was T-Area going out to Rapid City, beating St. Thomas More 33-6 in that one. T-Area gets to 2-0. We got highlights of that ball game coming up as well. Madison beats Belfouche 43-7 tonight, so Madison is off to a 2-0 start.
Yeah, 30 points in the first quarter for Madison and rolled from there.
All right, highlights of that game coming as well. 9 AA matchup. Bonham shuts out Miller Highmore Herald 33-0. Bonham gets to 2-1 after they come back after that overtime loss to Woolsey Wessington last week. Howard and Parker. Howard takes that one 22-12. Highlights of that ball game coming up as well.
Finally in the win column for the Tigers. Started out the year ranked. Good for them to get back on the winning track. Irene
Wakanda. Trey King and those guys roll up 65 points tonight. This game was called at halftime as Irene Makanda is off to a 3-0 start in 9AA in South Dakota. North Dakota Finals. This was Thursday night. Bismarck is rolling right now. They are off to a 2-0 start, beat West Fargo 48-8, and West Fargo's now 0-2.
I know Jody is very fond of this Bismarck team. He keeps telling everybody that he voted them number 1, and I think they look like a number 1 team back-to-back weeks with 48 points. And West Fargo, yeah, not out to the start that they had envisioned, but they knew it was going to be a little uphill battle this year.
Number 1 team, though, in 3A is Bismarck Century, a win over Grand Forks Red River tonight, 36-6. So Century is 2-0, and so is Bismarck early on in the season here. Other 3A scores, Fargo Davies and Minot. Davies with the win there, 42-2. So first win of the season for Davies, and Minot evens out at 1-1 after that win over West Fargo last week. West Fargo Cheyenne, their first win of the year, 47-7 over Bismarck Legacy in the battle of those 2 young programs in North Dakota. Mandan comes back to beat Fargo South tonight, 28-25. South led this game 25-13. but Mandan is off to a 2-0 start now, and Jody's got highlights of that game coming up here momentarily. Williston gets its first win of the year, beats Fargo North tonight at home, 40-8. In 2A in North Dakota, Bismarck St. Mary's, no problem with Valley City tonight. St. Mary's is off to a 2-0 start. Fargo Shanley, 49-0 tonight over Grafton. Jandy led this game 35-0 at halftime.
Yeah, last week with the nail biter over Jamestown. This week, a little more breathing room for Shanley.
2-0 for the number 2 team in Class 2A in North Dakota. Central Cass, the Squirrels, great logo, beat Devils Lake tonight 39-19.
Great new turf in Central Cass. We'll have highlights of that one coming up as well.
All right, Jamestown evens out at 1-1, 46-6 tonight over Watford City as Watford City drops to 0-2. In Class A in North Dakota, Hillsborough Central Valley over Northern Cass. Hillsborough Central Valley, the number 1 team in Class A as they roll on tonight. Carrington beats Harvey Wells County. Carrington is off to a 2-0 start.
Carrington, yep, those teams right there you see, no problems in those big shutouts and proving that they deserve that little number next to their name.
Other scores in Class A, Jason, it was Velva getting to 2-0, beat Delax Burlington 44-14. Good game between Bowman County over Dickinson Trinity tonight in a bit of an upset. That's the first game of the year for Dickinson Trinity, but Bowman County gets to 2-0.
Yeah, always a good win early in the season. They have time to bounce back, but that's a tough one when you go on the road and get beat.
Class A here, Milner North Sargent 36-14 over Oak Grove. The Grovers tonight. Jody's got highlights of this game coming up as well. Oak Grove drops to 1-1. North Sargent is 2-0 on the young season. Kindred gets its first win, beats Ellendale Edgeley Colm tonight 42-0 in Class A. Thompson is 3-0. They get the 40-12 win tonight over Findlay Sharon Hope Page, and Richland in a 2-point win.
Good one there.
Over Mayport GC tonight. Richland is off to a 3-0 start. New Salem Glen Ullin, 56-8 tonight over Grant County Flasher. New Salem Glen Ullin is 3-0 on the season, and Shiloh Christian a win over Mott Regent, 40-12 tonight. Shiloh Christian off to a 3-0 start as well.
So a lot going on in North Dakota, South Dakota as well. I can't wait to see some of these highlights of these close games, like the Richland game coming up, Mandan coming back to beat Fargo South. And we've got some big highlights in South Dakota here as well. All
right, Jody's standing by, getting ready up in West Fargo. We'll get to him with all the North Dakota stuff. But let's go to Brookings tonight. And I also almost said Coughlin Alumni Stadium, but it is not any longer the new stadium there. Dana Dykhouse Stadium in Brookings, home of the Bobcats taking on Mitchell tonight. Mitchell coming into this one 0-1 after they got beat by Watertown last week. Brookings had that win on the road at Yankton to get the game started, but Mitchell got the ground game going tonight. Drew Kitchens here, Jason.
Good to see Drew Kitchens back. He missed the last part of last game last week against Watertown, and then Carson Max finishing off the drive. Nice little dive at the end.
Max bagging in 7-0. Colonels out to the lead. Coach Schmidt not thrilled with that opening drive, but Jacob Schoen looking for Carter Idem here, and that is broken up. That's Carson Max playing some defense for the Colonels, and then they strike again.
They've got a passing game this year.
Keel Nelson makes a connection there, and then Drew Kitchens is going to take another one in to make it 14-0 at halftime.
Yeah, I got to watch them last week. You could see that their passing game's much improved. You know, they can pass it more than 4 times a game this year, so watch out. They've got some balance on offense, and I think they're going to do some damage. I voted them number 1, by the way, in the poll. I was the only one to vote them number 1. I know they were 0-1, but this Mitchell team kind of showed what they can do tonight.
Yeah, this class is kind of a mystery, though. Keel Nelson there with another completion. He would take a 71-yard touchdown run. Nelson with 91 rushing yards, 71 of those on a touchdown run, and the Colonels led this game 21-0, Jason. Brookings came back, a Jacob Schoen to Cole Malem touchdown. Schoen with a late touchdown run for Brookings as they got it within 21-14, but the Colonels get their first win.
Yeah, big road win for them. Anytime you can win on the road. They are the number 2 team, the Bobcats number 4. I think this class is going to be blurry for the first few weeks, Tom. What do you think?
For the entire season, I got to believe in 11 AA. Huron with that win tonight gets to 2-0. Mitchell, their first win here. Yankton, Pierre, Harrisburg, who knows, in 11A, AA in South Dakota.
You know what the game of the night for me was? It was this one. It was the top 5 battle in 11A. St. Thomas More is the only team that really played well last week, and they came out throwing in this one.
All right, T area. And I'm going to read this chat sheet here for you. The Titans came out. Ryder Kirsch to Grant Huber on their first play of the game, but penalties and some Titan defense kept them from getting the first down. They ended up turning the ball over on downs on that first drive for St. Thomas More. But T area used some runs and passes. Hunter West, very good quarterback. And they get the completion here. That's Hunter West with the first score of the game. They get a field goal to go up 9-0, and then
They kept on getting those field position plays. I mean, it's Hunter West with the balance again.
That's Wyatt Van Tol led to a field goal. The Titans up 9-0 here in the second quarter on the road, and they kept St. Thomas More really from getting anything going.
How about this guy, though?
West on the option here, and that is Carter Slykehouse, who had a couple of touchdowns tonight. It's 16-0 T area.
And a defensive interception, so big night for Carter, and T area really showed they had some offensive potency tonight.
Moments of hope for the Cavaliers. A 50-yard run by Riley Olson takes it down to the 10-yard line, but penalties continued to plague the Cavaliers. They were not able to capitalize. And on the next possession, Ryder Kirsch.
There's that interception.
There's the interception by Slykehouse, who again had a couple of touchdown runs. That pick there, and T area goes out and beats St. Thomas More 33-6.
They really executed the game plan tonight, Tom. They went out and shut down Ryder Kirsch and Mr. Huber, the guys that blew up last week for St. Thomas More. We'll hear a little bit later on some of the details from this game as we get a report during our zone coverage.
All right, T area is now 2-0. That win over West Central, and now a win over St. Thomas More. Some pretty good wins early on for T area. St. Thomas More drops to 1-1 here on the young season. Madison Jandy taking on Belle-Fourche in another East-West matchup. Belle-Fourche 1-0 after a win over Sturgis last week.
They can still throw.
They can. Tyler Tappy to Jacob Unterbrunner is a great connection right now for Madison.
Great connection. He's going to be one of the top receivers in the class. They cap it off with a field goal, come right back to the pass over the middle, and they find another weapon in their offense.
This is Mason Avery. That goes 39 yards. And Madison out to a 10-0 lead. They started pouring it on after that. They got a Chris Reese touchdown run. And then what happens here, Jenny? This
A little loose ball here.
is a fumble, and a man named Bear jumps on it. Bear Shipley, big number 50 is on it for Madison, and they lead it 23-0.
You know, he didn't think you'd make the highlights tonight, but you did, Bear. Great job.
They get another Unterbrunner touchdown to go up 30-0. Thomas Gores had a touchdown run. They got up 43-0, and then some defense out of Madison.
Yeah, the defense was definitely stout. We talk a lot about their offense, but look at the pressure they got all night, especially in this first quarter. Getting a sack, you saw the interception. They had several interceptions, and their outstanding defensive player, Doyle Brown, with the tackle for loss on this one right here with the stick. It's going to be a team to be reckoned with.
All right, Madison, number 2 right now in this class in 11A, but they are off to a 2-0 start. They got by Millbank in overtime last week. They beat Belle-Fourche tonight 43-7, and you see all that offense they had in the first half. And again, Tyler Tappy, 230 yards through the air, and Unterbrunner keeping up a great tradition of good wide receivers in Madison as well.
They are going to be just fine after that first week where they went to overtime.
All right, also in 11A in South Dakota tonight, Vermilion on the road at Del Rapids. Del Rapids dropped a close game last week to number 1 rated Dakota Valley, and they are moving it here early. Eddie Price to Logan Ellingson, who made some great catches last week, another one there. Ended up not getting any points on the drive here, but got the offense going a little bit. Vermilion actually scores first, Jandy. Jacob Peterson to Gary Peterson, and the Tanagers are up 7-0.
Yeah, this is a young Warrior team that just made a few mistakes and let Vermilion get started, but then they answered the call. Give them some credit.
Ensuing kickoff alert, Jandy. You know exactly what that means. And it's Ellingson who made that great catch early on. He goes 70 yards here to tie it at 7.
Yeah, big special teams plays will bail a young team out like this. But this thing was close all night, Tom. This was not an open and shut case. These Warriors, as good as they played, the Tanagers hung tough in the second half.
Dells got out to a big lead before Vermilion came back. You're going to see Max Lamer go 17 yards the other way, and Del Rapids takes a 14-7 lead.
Great blocking on that play. Sometimes they don't get enough shout outs in the show, but that was a good job of sealing the edge.
Lots of defense here. Just a brutal takedown by Kenyon Shellum with some defense for Del Rapids that leads to a punt. The Couriers block that punt, and then Nick Bover goes in for a touchdown. Del Rapids up 21-7, but as you said, this game ends up tight at the end as Dels has to hang on for a 29-28 win.
29-28 win, a win that they desperately needed after last week's tough game against Dakota Valley. But Eddie Price, give him credit, he was able to throw the ball tonight, 114 yards, and Baver we saw there with one of his 2 touchdowns on the night.
Good night for Jacob Peterson. We saw that 1 touchdown pass. He had 3 of them on the night for Vermilion, but the Tanagers dropped to 0-2, and Del Rapids evens out now at 1-1 on the season. 9AA tonight, Jason. And Bonham lost last week to Wolsey Wessington in that double overtime game. Coming back here against Miller Highmore Herald. And the Rustlers have been outscored 74-6 in their first couple of games. And Bonham kind of took it to them tonight.
Yeah.
Joey Slamma.
Right from the top, they were able to keep that power going. You see, nice tackle there by Miller Highmore Herald, but this team with Joey Slamma and Nate Shazinski, they were getting it done. This is their second score of the night. They also scored on a kick return earlier in the game, and they just got things rolling.
Scored on a fumble return as well. Karst Hunter had an interception for Miller, but the Rustlers just could not turn it into any points tonight. And you see him kind of running for his life here against that Bonham defense.
Well, that was the key. They're going to try to find a way to force Karst Hunter to make plays with other players on his team, and that's what they did. They took Karst out of the game, and so far that's been the key to success for teams against the Rustlers, who start out the year 0-3 now.
Joey Slamma went to Noah Heesh for a touchdown. It was 26-0 Bonham at halftime, and Bonham gets to 2-1 on the season now, and Miller Highmore Herald drops to 0-3 in Class 9AA. Speaking of 9AA, Irene Wakanda is a really good team right now. Jandy at home against Chester area tonight.
Yeah, we had a feeling that they were a little better than Chester, but they really went out on the field and proved it tonight, Tom.
Trey King on a keeper there, and the Eagles scored a ton of points in this ballgame tonight, 14-0. King to Marcus Van Drill, and those guys hooked it up all night. It was 21-0. Trey King, one of the finest athletes in the state of South Dakota. He's about 6'2", weighs about 205. He's got a lot of speed, goes 30 yards here for another score.
Nice touchdown by the referee there. Well, he had taken a seat.
28-0, Irene Wakanda in the lead. Levi Larson in at quarterback, and they pitch it this time to Trey King, and he does the rest to make it 36-0.
He's really made up for a lot of people thought this Irene Wakanda team made it to the finals last year, lost Sokolowski, lost Tate Gale, even lost their head coach, that they might not come back as full strength this year. But this is a great showing by what Trey King can do and how he's really put this team on his shoulders. King
to Gavin Spurrell for another touchdown there, and this game was called at halftime, Jandy, 65-6. Irene Wakanda gets to 3-0 on the season, and they are averaging 58 points a game right now in their first 3 wins of the season.
Their schedule is favorable, I'll give them that, and they'll have a couple tougher games later in the year, but right now they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Big numbers for Trey King, 150 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, 193 yards passing, and 4 touchdowns, so 7 combined TDs tonight for Trey King as Irene Wakanda gets to 3-0 on the season. And they're number 3 in this class right now. You still got Gregory and Woolsey Wessington ahead of Irene Wakanda. All right, back to the bigger schools in 11AA, Jandy, and the Yankton at home tonight taking on the Governor's. Pierre lost to Harrisburg last week. Yankton lost that close game to Brookings.
Oh, big tackle that time. Garrett Stout finding a way to get the pass to Zane Shugard, and this is second half action here. They tied it up at 14.
Tied 14 there. Yankton goes ahead on a field goal by Cole Swatsky to make it 17-14.
There it is right there.
So the Bucks are in the lead at home on that brand new turf down there at Crane Youngworth, but McGuire Rasky had a touchdown run here.
I think it was Maher there, wasn't it? They switched their quarterback so much that it's hard to tell. I couldn't see the number there. Was that 8?
Now Maher had a late touchdown run. The Governors got McGuire Rasky to make it 21-17, and then that late touchdown run by Maher. Maher had 2 touchdown runs. Another touchdown pass on the night, as you said, to Schuchard, and the Governors get their first win of the season. Yankton drops to 0-2 after a couple of tough losses.
You know, this Yankton team, they fought hard these first 2 weeks, but haven't been able to hold on to the game in the second half, and that's been trouble. I still think that there's hope for this Yankton team in the second half of the season.
All right, a couple other highlights coming up from South Dakota. Howard at Parker tonight as Howard gets its first win of the season. And we will get to North Dakota here coming up in a moment. But just another thought on Irene Wakanda and Trey King. And
yeah.
As you said, they're off to a 3-0 start, but some tougher games coming up for those guys.
They will. I mean, you look at their schedule and you knew that their record might not be as good or will be as good as last year, but you don't know if their team is as good. But performances like tonight are starting to make me a believer, Tom.
And if you got a kid like that in the 9-man game,
you're
usually pretty good. And one other thought on 11 AA. What is going on in this class? It's Mitchell, it's Harrisburg, maybe at the top, and then who?
I'm pretty confident that Mitchell is the best team in this class. I still don't think Harrisburg has all the pieces. I think everybody was trying to do some new things. We're trying to rotate quarterbacks in Pierre, and we're trying new quarterbacks, sophomore quarterbacks for Harrisburg. I mean, we're trying a lot of things out at this point in the season, but I do think Mitchell right now stands as the best team in the class.
All right, we will see going forward, just 2 weeks in to the year here. Jody Norstedt is coming up in West Fargo when we come back tonight in North Dakota high school football when we return on Varsity Sports Live.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Avera Orthopedics, South Dakota State University, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Hello, welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. Tom Nieman along with Jason Andera here in Sioux Falls, and this is the point in the show, Jandy, where we kick back and let our man in West Fargo, North Dakota take over. Jody?
Yeah, you guys want a drink or something?
How
I got
are
some
you,
water.
man? Whatever you got would be nice.
You're tired. My turn.
All right.
Let's go.
Take it away, brother.
All right, I'm going to go start with a game from last night. Not just any game, but a top 5 tilt involving the defending state champ. West Fargo was trying to put last week's 6-0 loss to Minot in the rearview mirror. Let's take a look at the highlights, visiting my preseason #1 pick, Bismarck. It was a promising start for the Packers. Joel McIntosh caps off the team's opening drive with a touchdown run. McIntosh rushed for 68 and that score. Bismarck came out throwing, but Will Madler, the senior quarterback, is going to take a shot from the defender Marcus Gully, hunting him down. The floating pass picked out by Carter Barancott for the Packers. Great momentum for the visitors, but on the very next play they kill it. The handoff from Cooper Sully to McIntosh, botched. Demons recover. That'll frustrate coaches. It was all home team from there. Isaiah Olson runs through a gaping hole at the goal line. 3-yard score ties the game at 8. Then the defense turns up the pressure. I believe this is our first safety on Varsity Sports Live this year, unless I missed one in the South Dakota ranks. Dylan Seibel sacks Cooper Sully for 2. Demons take a 16-8 lead. The offense was unstoppable. They pile up 300 rushing yards. Olson scoots into the end zone for his second touchdown. He might be your top running back in the state in 3A. Bismarck rolls to the 48-8 win, so that is 48 unanswered points. The Demons match their point total from last week, and Olson continues to put on a show in the backfield.
My mindset, get as many yards as you can. I don't try and overdo anything. You've always got another down, so do whatever I can to get as much yards for my team. Don't got to score every play, just got to get closer to the end zone.
He's got the vision, he's got the balance, got the vision, and he's got speed. I mean, you can't coach speed, but one thing he has to learn is how to take care of the ball a little bit, and that's going to be a coaching point for us. It gets the ball away from his body a little bit, but he'll learn.
The #1 ranked team, Bismarck Century, taking on Red River on the road. Getting some handshakes in before the game. A beautiful night in Grand Forks, but it would turn not so great. 2 minutes into the game, Cade Feeney, last week's hero in overtime, gets to sneak up the middle for the first touchdown of the game. Next drive, Parker Monet's pass intercepted by Century's Griffin Jensen. Century crowd loving that. Second quarter, Grant Anderson punches another 7 points into the end zone for the Patriots. They are up 14-0, but Red River strikes right back. Monet finds Cole Benson along the sidelines. Check out this grab. They would miss the extra point, though. Century still leading 21-6. Cheerleaders getting a workout. Later in the second, Red River's George Nyan breaks loose with a beautiful run. Watch the spin, the stiff arm. Takes 3, 4, 5 guys to get him down. 20 yards on the carry. At the beginning of the third quarter now, Century running back Grant Anderson finds the end zone with a 50-yard run up the sideline. Goodbye. Century up 28-6. Coach Vern Muir on the Red River sideline. Boy, trying to get something going through the air is his offense, but it's going to be Griffin Jensen again. His second interception of the night. And Century goes on to win this one 35-6. This game was called early because of lightning. Afterward, here's head coach Ron Wingenbach on the win.
Well, I think number one, we were able to establish the run early in the ball game, and that kind of set up our play action off of it. And we kind of had both things working early in the game, and just kind of was able to sustain that on the defensive side as well. I think overall we're developing some depth. We played a lot of different juniors tonight at some different positions. So as we move ahead, depth will always be important. We've had some major injuries up to this point, and we just got to keep working with some of our younger kids now, and they've got to make up the slack.
Our defense can definitely improve a little bit. Our offense can definitely improve. Tackles a lot. Our line did a great job. Now we're going into some conference play next week against Mandan. That'll be a real tough game for us. So still some improvements, but hopefully we can come out on top again.
Cheyenne had that deflating overtime loss at Century last week. Mustangs looking fierce at home. They're already up 27-0 at the half. Senior running back Hunter Hoffner to the outside and into the end zone. 34-zip Mustangs. 24-yard score from Hoffner. Legacy's only points come from this 44-yard strike from Rhett Clements to Patrick Doan. A beauty. Makes it 34-7. Mustangs try to answer as Hoffner gets the handoff again. Boy, number 7 is fun to watch. How about that block out front? Hoffner slicing and dicing across the field. Very nice moves before getting inside the red zone, knocking on the doorstep. Bad handoff here. Parker Sander and Hoffner. So Legacy gets the ball back, but the Sabre offense would stall, forcing a punt that is, well, you just saw it, blocked. Later recovered in the end zone by Matt Wagner for a 41-7 Mustangs lead. Fourth quarter now, Cheyenne finishes things off late in the quarter with a 2-yard touchdown run from Kobe Angelis. The Mustangs are winners tonight, 47-7. Hoffner with the big run game, 325 rushing yards as a team. Here's Hoffner afterwards.
Well, all week we're practicing about tempo and just doing our jobs the right way, because last week we came out, first game of the year, we didn't really do our jobs the right way we should have. But this week we kept our tempo up, we all did our job the right way, and paid off.
Big tilt between two unbeatens, both receiving votes in the latest poll. Fargo South taking on Mandan out at the Starion Complex. Still has that new turf smell. Danny LaHaye, 73 yards right in front of the cameraman, sprinting away from him now. South goes up 6-0 right off the bat. Here's South, Robert Leslie. Here's a fumble. Keaton Meshke stripped, and there goes Leslie. A fumble recovery for a touchdown. Fargo South up 12-0. Looking for the big, well, not big, but it would be an upset, I guess, on the road. But actually hold on that, because I don't think it would be an upset. Keaton Meshke, 8-yard touchdown run. Fargo South up 12-7. Here's your must-have highlight. Wyatt Hansen, a beautiful pass to Dawson Weisenberger for the touchdown. Well, that move then. Wyatt Hansen across the middle. This is Bless Flomo. South goes up 25-13. So South is up 12 points at this point. And then Mandan comes storming back. Dane Carlson to Aaron Riopel. South's lead cut to 25-20. And then Mandan's Austin Fry is going to scamper into the end zone. Oh, even fooled the cameraman. Fry is into the end zone. So Mandan's up 28-25. South's last chance now. Wyatt Hansen, that pass is knocked down by Austin Riopel. Mandan will get the first down and run out the clock. The Braves beat Fargo South. This is why I said it wasn't an upset. They beat Fargo South for the first ever time. How about that? Here's some reaction from the Braves.
Yeah, it was incredible. After the couple weeks that we've had, some of our top players are going down with probably our 2 best linemen and our running back, and how we just pulled through, and we needed that win. That was huge for everybody, the town, all of our team, because what we've gone through has just been incredible.
Nice start for Mandan, 2-0. Top 5 battle in Class 2A. Central Cass unveiling its brand new turf, Farmers Union Insurance Field. In your showdown with Devils Lake, Squirrels are going from under the radar to unstoppable in a hurry. First offensive play, Jonah Leitz to Jacob Halverson. Been his main man since elementary school, 30-yard TD. How about a hot dog? You don't need a bun, just the dog. Next drive, Leitz to 6'4" receiver J.J. Albrecht. It's just too easy. It's a 2-touchdown lead, and these guys are getting ready to bolt out back to their pickup game behind the bleachers. Hope they didn't leave before this. Screen pass to Junior Tote, and they list him at 5'6", but he's pretty much invincible on this play for Devils Lake. 75 yards on the touchdown. Central Cass up 20-0 after one. Afterward, Tote said, "Did you get that one, Jody?" Firebirds break up the shutout in the second. Joe Fraley caps a good drive with a 9-yard sprint to the far side for the touchdown, cutting the lead to 20-6, bulldozing his way at the end. But here comes Tote again. Look at the blocking and then the cut. That's textbook. Central Cass led 32-6 at the half. The only thing left was for Leitz to break the school's all-time passing yards record. He does that early in the third. The floater to Albrecht. Why not? These Squirrel receivers are bullies out there. That makes it 39-6. Leitz passes for 291 yards and 4 touchdowns and breaks a record that stood for 50 years. He's over 3,600 yards now in his career. As we take a look at the scoreboard, 39-19 the final on a record-setting night for Leitz.
It feels great. A lot of hard work went into it, but you can't do it without the offensive line we have and those studs we have at receiver. It makes it easy for me. I think people weren't very scared of us, but I think people are on the look now that we're coming. We have a great start to the year, and we're looking to keep it going next week.
Those teams on the lookout for those Squirrels. They were taking on Grafton tonight. Grafton's opening possession, Dalton Albrecht, intercepted by Andy Clark, who returns it 20 yards into the red zone for the Deacons. Shanley capitalizes. Caden Kuhneman finds Talon Hoffer on 4th down for a 15-yard touchdown. 7-6 Deacons. Second quarter now. First play of the quarter. Cade Busek takes the handoff up the middle. That's 2 quarterbacks out there playing. Busek, an All-State quarterback a year ago, 14-yard touchdown, 14-zip Deacons. Grafton fumbles on the ensuing kickoff. Busek makes him pay, punching it in from 2 away, 21-0 Deacons. Shanley goes on to win big, 49-0. The number 2 team in the state still looking good. Let's go to big night for Hillsboro Central Valley at Northern Cass. The Burros ranked number 1 in the latest poll. And it was a big night for Oscar Benson, who was our game ball winner last week. Boy, he's making a bid for back-to-back. First possession, he takes it inside, then outside, tips goes down the sideline to get in from 13 yards out. Next possession, Mark Hastings with the carrier right up the gut. Takes it 25 yards to the house, 12-0 Hillsboro Central Valley. Then it's Benson doing it on defense too, comes flying in for the sack. He had an interception in last week's Varsity Sports Live, so he has the sack, touchdowns. It's pretty much a hat trick, right? Ensuing Burrows drive, Benson at it again, gets past the first line of defense, and you're not going to catch him after that. 27 yards on this one, 20-0 HCV into the first. More troubles for Northern Cass. Their offense, second quarter shotgun snap, fumbled. Isaac Luthi pounces on it. Next play, Ezra Longthorn. He's going to have the carry up the middle, kicks it to the outside. Doesn't matter if you're wearing a white uniform, you're scoring a touchdown. 19 yards, 27-zip. Hillsboro's 5th possession. They make it 5 for 5 to open the game. Gallagher on the option to Longthorn. He does the rest, 34 yards. Hillsboro Central Valley, boy, the defending state champs looking very good right now. A 41-0 win to move to 2-0. It was a Region 1 battle as Fargo Oak Grove hosted Milner North Sargent on the opening drive. It's the senior connection. Dawson McKeever is going to find Josh Martinson hooking up for a 51-yard score. Floating away out there. Defender a little bit lost on that play, and it's 6 rip early for the Bulldogs. The Grovers respond. Caleb Card going to find Landon Jose for the 23-yard score. Fakes the handoff, and hey, Landon, here's your ball. Touchdown. Stretches across the goal line. Grovers take the lead after the extra point, 7-6. Last play of the first quarter is when momentum swings in the favor of the road team. Josh Martinson picks off the pass, and the Bulldogs are all of a sudden in business. 2 plays later, it's TJ Johnson for the 31-yard score, and the Dogs lead it 14-7. Boy, showing off some speed there. The ensuing kickoff now, it's going to be a scrum for the Squib. Milner North Sargent is going to come up with this. Believe it or not, Oak Grove just bobbling the ball, and the Bulldogs have it. This drive takes just 2 plays after the turnover. McKeever is going to find Dylan Schreiner, who makes a man miss, and he's going to stretch into the end zone. Take a look. McKeever floats it out to Schreiner, right in front of our camera, shaking him up, and he gets across the goal line. Milner North Sargent goes on to win this one. Take a look at the scoreboard. 36-14 is the final. Afterward, Josh Martinson reflecting on a big 2-0 start for his team.
We established a run game this time, and our defensive line played pretty well. We just got in there and made some plays. Oh, it's awesome. Oak Grove, we're both about the same in the region, so it's good to establish ourselves in the region.
To the 9-man ranks, Shiloh Christian 2-0 hosting their home opener against the Mott Regent New England Wildfire. First quarter, Shiloh takes the early lead on 2nd down and 3. Trey Burnell runs in untouched. Skyhawks get the 2-pointer up 8-zip. Wildfire answer on their next possession. Isaac Frey with a nice touch finds Cody Perkins. Boy, that's a tall target out there. Wildfire miss out on the 2-pointer, down 8-6. Shiloh with the ball, and again it's a handoff to Trey Burnell, and again it's a touchdown. Pretty good conversion rate for him. Skyhawks up 16-6. Rough night though for Wildfire QB Isaac Frey, and he throws an interception here, picked off by Skyhawks Cole Wolf, and he runs it back almost to the end zone. They barely get him out. Shiloh with the ball on the goal line, you guessed it. Mr. Brunel runs in for his 3rd score of the night. Skyhawks cruising 24-6. Then it's Fry throwing his 2nd interception of the night here. Seth Mitzel comes up with it. This time Shiloh is unable to capitalize, though. Shiloh up 32-6 at the half. And there was a wing eating contest. Jandy, Tom, you guys game? Maybe after the show. Shiloh Christian scores first in the second half. This time Isaac Johnson runs it in for the TD. This one was all Skyhawks. There's a reason they are rated number 3 in the state. They roll to the 40-12 victory.
It's a relief. We went to Mulhall 3 hours away, so we were kind of tired after that drive, and then Grant County, which isn't that far away, but we played good there. We got shut out, and it just feels great for our team. Everyone was excited to play here, and we were just super hyped before the game to play, and we came out and got a win.
Let's go to another 9-man tilt. These two teams receiving votes, both 2-0. And how about this? The new turf at Jerome Berg Field getting broken in by the high school kids on the campus of Mayville State. Richland at Mayport CG. Home team breaks open the scoring early in the first. Reese Hansen, the senior QB, sneaks it in. Puts the Patriots up 6-0. Under 1 minute left in the quarter. Mayport CG's Jordan Sherva gets a big chunk of yards on this run. Spinning, bulldozing his way. Boy, Colts seeing red on that play. He gets inside the 5. He'd punch it in on the next play to put the Pats up 12-zip. Colts wouldn't stay quiet for long, though. Early second quarter, Cole Myers had such a great start to his season, threw like 5 touchdowns in the opener. Finds Hunter Lentz for this one. Spectacular grab for the TD. Richland's on the board. They tied up with a minute left in the half. Again on the 20-yard line, Meyer drops a dime to Carter Lingen to knot it up at 12. Cole Myers off to a good start this year. Colts go for 2, and look at the effort from Myers as he takes it himself to the end zone. Stretches across the goal line and gives Richland the 14-12 lead. Last play of the half now. Patriots looking to find the end zone, but Carter Lingen will catch passes from either quarterback tonight. Hansen looking deep right at the end of the break, picked off by Carter Lingen. It would be back and forth the whole way, but Richland comes away with the 30-28 win. So the Colts move into 3-0 before a huge matchup with Thompson next week, guys. That should be a lot of fun. That puts a cap on the highlights from North Dakota. Hope you guys got your water break in. One more score in Class 3A, kind of a biggie. Fargo Davies, after losing to Bismarck, getting kind of beat up by Bismarck on opening night at their place. Davies goes out to Minot, beats them 44-22. Minot ranked number 3 in the state.
Big win.
Probably not after this week.
Big win for Fargo Davies. Thanks, Jody.
And Bismarck was Jody's pick preseason.
Yeah, in case you hadn't heard.
Number 1 team in 3A.
Number 1 team, Jody.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, nice work. Thanks a lot, Jody Norstedt. When we come back, Jody's got a preview of the President's Bowl coming up in South Dakota on Saturday afternoon.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Andera Orthopedics, South Dakota State University, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live, and some more highlights here from South Dakota. One more game in Class 9, or it's a 9A matchup against 9AA. You got Howard in 9A taking on Parker in 9AA, Jandy. And Howard coming into this one at 0-2. Parker is 1-1. They beat Chester in the opener, lost to Garrettson last week. And Howard's got a young man named Gavin Erickson Reisdorfer.
Yeah, and this is a guy who can split up wide. He can line up in the backfield. He caught a couple of touchdown passes tonight.
Had the run there, had the 2-point conversion, and then they go to Michael Hofer for another touchdown. Howard out to the lead. Erickson Reisdorfer will cap it off with a 2-point conversion. 16-0 Howard in the lead.
Yeah, a good start for the Tigers, but Parker stayed in this game.
Mace Plucker, nice little run right there. And then Matt Van Vliet gets cut down, and that leaves more touchdowns coming up for Erickson Reisdorfer. Howard goes on to win this game tonight 22-12, and the Tigers get their first win of the season.
Huge for them to notch that on the board. You see the big numbers there from Reisdorfer, 2 receiving touchdowns, and Hofer got close to 100 yards. That should put him back on track.
All right, time for zone coverage. Some more post-game from the head coaches in North and South Dakota. Let's go back up to West Fargo. Jody Norstedt, take it away again.
Yeah, guys, a lot of great games all over the area, and Oak Grove and Milner North Sargent played a good one in Class A. And it was a big win for Milner North Sargent because they come out and they beat Oak Grove 36-14, and Oak Grove was a team that kind of thumped them a little bit. So Eric Olson was kind of reacting to that, how they came to Oak Grove's place and really took it to them.
Our guys wanted this one. This was one that we had circled on our calendar, and Oak Grove, they embarrassed us last year. They really kicked our butts last year, and we needed this one for confidence just going into our next couple weeks of region play.
So now they are 2-0 is Milner North Sargent. How about Cheyenne coming back, getting a big win at home, 47-7. That is a convincing win for the 4th-ranked Mustangs. Jeremy Newton saying it all came down to balance in this one.
No, we've really been preaching it a lot, and the guys did a really good job of kind of saying, hey, we're a team. We're not as important. One person's not as important as a team, and I think we did a really good job of that tonight, kind of focus on the team and put the team in front of the players.
So one will stay put in 3A. Century will stay at number 1. Bismarck will stay at number 2, I'm guessing. But Minot was the number 3 team. So there's opportunities to move up for a lot of those teams. Mandan might be a team that finds itself in the polls. The Braves are now 2-0 after a win over South, 28-25, a comeback win. Todd Sheldon says it all comes down to team chemistry for his squad right now.
We talk about perseverance on a regular basis, perseverance, loyalty to each other, and effort, and then respect. And those are the things that we talk about on a regular basis. We put those as our core values, and we tell the kids that you've got to be a family, you got to challenge each other, you got to confront each other, you got to comfort each other when you're down, and you've got to celebrate with each other. So we're working on that 4th one tonight.
They are going to have fun tonight in Mandan. Todd Sheldon's group moving to 2-0 on this season. We'll see what happens the rest of the way, guys. Like I said, I think Bismarck's the best team. Century's number 1 ranked right now. It's going to be pretty fun when those two teams collide here. Come on down the line.
Right on. A lot of power out in the west part of the state right now in North Dakota.
Yeah, and West Fargo and Cheyenne square off next week, so that should be interesting. Cheyenne with an opportunity to beat West Fargo for the first time ever.
I think they're the favorites.
All right.
Probably.
Yep.
Thanks, Jody. Great work
You bet.
tonight. All right, Jandy, let's get back to South Dakota and talk about the Bonham Cavaliers a little bit. A 33-0 win over Miller Highmore Herald.
A couple huge wins this year, and then they had an overtime loss last week against Wolsey Wessington. But here's Byron Pudwill kind of talking about their season so far.
Hey, it's been really fun. Had a great group. A lot of seniors. That's always a good thing. We love seniors, and they've been playing pretty well. The first game went really good and got a shutout. Second game, double overtime against a very good Wolsey Wessington team.
Once in a while, I have to eat my words. I picked them to be like a 4-4 type of team this year, but they've got a lot of starters back, 7 or 8 guys, a lot of seniors, and I thought they had a big question mark at quarterback, but boy, Joey Slama has really slammed the door on that.
They're 2-1 right now. You could still be right.
I think they're going to be
But they're gonna
7-1. Now I'm going to
be better than 4-4 for Bonham as they're 2-1 after their win tonight. T Area went out to St. Thomas More tonight, and this was kind of lopsided as T Area won at 33-6.
Yeah, exactly. This was a big loss for St. Thomas More coming off of a big win last week, and we talked to the play-by-play announcer of the game to find out a little bit more about St. Thomas More and how they feel after a game like this.
I mean, I think they knew that this was a team to be reckoned with, right? They're pretty evenly matched up in the polls, 3 and 4 respectively, with T being out in front. But I think it's still, they got a ways to go. They got to get a little bit more consistency. They got to find a way to get the running game open, because then that opens up things for Kirsch. It felt like they wouldn't let Kirsch loose too much. Like, they were always trying to keep the ground game going. It just was not working. So they opened up their first offensive play. It was a 30-yard strike, Kirsch to Huber, and then they just ran it and they turned the ball over on downs because they couldn't get any consistency going with the offense. So they were shut out in the first half. I mean, T Area, I think, and I'm sure you already noticed, they're a pretty darn good team.
Yeah, thanks to Dylan. And T Area's 2-0. Slykehouse, Hunter West. They got some players.
Clayberg and some of the playmakers on the outside. But defensively, stopping the run tonight was a key. And then Slykehouse was dynamic.
And 11A is always very good. Madison is still maybe.
Madison looked good. T looked good tonight.
Maybe the team to beat.
All right. Valley looked good tonight.
All right, big schools in Sioux Falls get going on Saturday afternoon. The President's Bowl, Saturday here. We've got both games live here on Midco Sports Network. The first game starts at 3:30. That is Brandon Valley and Sioux Falls Lincoln, Jamie.
Yeah, last season the Lynx relied heavily on that running game, but I talked to Brandon Valley head coach Chad Garrow about balance this season.
But I like the size of our line this year too. They're just a little raw yet and haven't played together. So I think as the year goes, they'll continue to get better at the run game. But I'd like to be 50-50, probably a little bit more this year than we were last year. It's probably about 75%, 25%. So.
Well, there you go. Brandon Valley, much more balanced. Their opponents from Lincoln had a big quarterback controversy this year. They had senior Terrell Eisenbraun and sophomore Tommy Thompson. Head coach Jared Fredenberg talks a little bit about that offseason battle.
Teams together, and the senior was Terrell Eisenbraun, was a captain on one of the teams, and he had the first pick on who he wanted, and he picked Tommy. And so they were both in direct competition with each other. So that tells me a lot about Terrell. And both those kids, the entire season, were 100% attendance on everything that we did. And so that bred a great competition. And both of them, believe it or not, were voted captains. And so that's the first time I've ever had a sophomore in all my years of coaching be thought that highly of by his peers.
All right, that's the first matchup. Going to be good. The nightcap will be a rematch of last year's championship game, Sioux Falls, Washington, taking on Sioux Falls, Roosevelt.
And we'll have all that coverage coming up later tomorrow, 7 o'clock for the second game, 3:30 for the first game. Curtis Riggs and I on the call. Can't wait to see how that unfolds.
All right, going to be very good. When we come back, we'll take you around the horn again. North Dakota, South Dakota games, all the games tonight with the one big play in the rundown when we come back on Varsity Sports Live. Let's get to the rundown, Jandy. All the big games of the night. This was last night. Bismarck with the win over West Fargo. Bismarck century tonight over Red River.
The real #1 team got the win.
West Fargo, Cheyenne, and Mandan. Mandan with that comeback win. West Fargo, Cheyenne beats up Legacy this evening.
Big win for Cheyenne. They've got West Fargo next week. That should be a fun one.
It was Fargo Shanley 49-0 over Grafton tonight. Shanley gets to 2-0. Central Cass, the Squirrels are 2-0 as well.
How about that? On their new field, first game, 20-point victory.
Hillsboro Central Valley 2-0 as well, 41-0 tonight over Northern Cass. Oak Grove falls to Milner North Sargent 36-14.
Yeah, big revenge game for Milner North Sargent. They are going to go celebrate tonight.
Shiloh Christian is 3-0 now after the win over Mott Regent this evening, 40-12. And it was a Richland 30-20 over Mayport CG. Tonight in South Dakota, the Colonels get it going 28-14 tonight with the win. Kitchens and company get their first win. Pierre on the road at Yankton with the win.
They also get their first win of the year. And T-Area gets their second win in a row, beating St. Thomas More in a top 5 tilt in 11A.
With touchdowns for Carter Slykehouse. Madison stays undefeated 43-7 tonight. Del Rapids hangs on to beat Vermilion 29-28.
Yeah, that was a great hang on, you said it, to get that first win of the year for them.
Howard, its first win of the season, 22-12 tonight. Couple of touchdowns for our man, Erickson Reisdorfer. Bonham looks very good, 33-0 tonight over Miller O'Hara.
We're going to have to deal with that team if we want to win 9AA.
Irene Wakanda, this game called at halftime. Trey King and the company 65-6.
He had about 60 touchdowns in that one.
All right, live football Saturday afternoon, 3:30, first game of the President's Bowl, live here on Midco Sports Network.
So excited for that one. It's always one of the best of the year.
Brandon Valley and Lincoln first. Washington, Roosevelt will follow that. See you next week.